This is the Cerne Abbas giant. Don't be alarmed. It's probably about 1200 years old and is a chalk figure. There's one or two very interesting ones in Britain. And is part of a set of monuments on this hill, one of which you're seeing now. I think that's the Trundle or the Trindle or something like that. There may or may not be a spatial relationship, well, a relationship in time, but there is a spatial one. And this, it's not just these two monuments. We have what look like Bronze Age and Iron Age monuments of a village, or maybe Romano-British village on the hillside, and what looks like either a disc barrow or some sort of henge monument on the top. So, and on the brow of the hill as well. So it's a very curious. I mean, if you look at the OS map for this area, you'll see it's quite a lot of interesting earthworks. It's clearly, obviously, a heathen figure, and there below you can see the area where there was not a monastery, an abbey, for which the Abbas part of Cerne. And it's amazing. This was carved in the 700s or 800s or 900s, and it's amazing how it wasn't obliterated by the church. And there's some very quite important people. Strict Christians were at this abbey, so it's quite remarkable it still exists. We know its age because of spectral analysis or something like that. They applied a doodad to the chalk at its lowest level to see what would come out of it, and they did science on it, and so we have a figure. I would have preferred, if I'd had a choice, I would have preferred an earlier age. But at this, there shouldn't be any paganism in this period, so it's very curious. So there's still answers, still questions to be answered. So what do you reckon over here? See this fort over here, this enclosure, right? So do you think
yes,
it is ceremonial? Do you think it's political? Is it telling the world this is our hill, this is our valleys?
Yeah.
Is it?
Obviously, it's a boundary of some kind.
But it's on top of the hill, so it can't stop anybody walking down there, or walking down there, or can it?
It would have. Who knows? It may have had wooden ramparts, built up all around.
All the way along. Yeah.
Or were they so evolved that they didn't need boundaries, and it was just a ceremonial thing?
Yeah, because I believe in human evolution in that sense. So, So, do you think it's political, for taxation purposes, religious? Or is it all of them?
I don't know enough about it. I'd like to believe that it had some kind of symbolic ceremonial function. Yeah. But who knows?
And do you think it's got anything to do with the Cerne Abbas giant? Or is it just completely random, not random, but unrelated? They're together in space. Are they together in time?
Depends at what date were the boundaries or whatever. When did they come, and when did the Cerne Abbas giant, when was he drawn on the landscape?
Yeah, so between 700 and 1000, I believe, AD. Yeah, there is.
When we feel a bit tired, we can always drive up there.
Yeah, good. Do you think it's a Roman road? Because it was pretty straight, wasn't it?
It looks pretty straight.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it goes to Dorchester, which is Roman, so it could be. There's another thing we haven't thought about, and that is, it's all, everything we've said has been quite flighty and, noble and royal and, all this, power and everything. Could it just be somewhere just to keep your sheep?
It could be. It could be.
Could it be just a fold? It's. Yeah. So at night time the shepherd brings them in here and then he lets them out again. Could it be that way? It's a lot of effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
To dig like that. So here's where excuse the wind. here is the village, and there's a path that goes up here underneath the giant, the Cerne Abbas giant, and takes a less steep route at a diagonal up the hill. But there is a reward at the end of it. We've got the settlement, which is probably prehistoric, maybe Romano British, but not a posh villa. It's reminiscent of prehistoric. In fact, it's all higgledy-piggledy. There's banks and dips and so on, and huts, platforms. But this sort of stands out, which is a circular earthwork. It's quite wide. It seems of some importance. It's slap bang in the middle of the hill, the highest point, and you can walk down. All of this area you can walk across. It's been designated as free access. And then there's a ditch here, but I didn't really know. I noticed there was a ditch and I was walking across it, but I didn't notice it was this tumulus here. So I'm going to go back and have a look. And along here is the square truckle or trundle. I can't remember what it was called. It's not on the OS map, the name, but it's that's what it appears. What people think it's called. And below it, down the hill, on the side of the hill is the giant. And down here, right at the bottom, is the abbey. So if it is an ancient pagan god, it's literally 100 yards from the nearest Christian abbey. Why wasn't it destroyed like every other pagan idol in the country in the Christian Anglo-Saxon period? But so somehow or other it got away with it. This earthwork is practically at the top of the hill, but it's as it slopes just before it falls off towards the south. There is this mound here and a ditch rather than a bank. I can't see a bank, but I can see the mound. So yeah, an oval, sort of a semicircular ditch. This is interesting. You would have thought that a bank like this would cut off the summit of the hill from the outside of the hill, but in fact the bank is on the southern side toward going down the hill, and the ditch is on the northern side going up the hill, which is quite interesting. That's not normally the case. So it must be for some other purpose than just defence, I would have thought. So what do you think then? Do you think... Right, okay, so what we've got is a naked man holding a club. The archaeology tells us in the other hand he's holding a cloth or a cape of some kind. Obviously, it's Hercules. But the question is, what's a Mediterranean god doing in Anglo-Saxon times doing in England? So what do you reckon?
Well, it's a Roman thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but from the spectral analysis, whatever they did on the chalk, it comes out at 700, which is 200 years after the Romans left. 300 years.
Well, clearly they left their culture behind, they left their influence behind, they left their art behind, and people just took that up and decided to etch something symbolic on the face of the mountain.
So you think there was down here, there was a pocket of Britons in a village resisting the invasion of the Anglo-Saxons by Tutatis?
Yes, Asterix and Obelix came here and spread their influence, didn't they?
Yeah. So I reckon it is Hercules. There's reports from sort of the early modern period, sort of I think 17th century, of people calling him Helis or Helif. I think he's Hercules. Should we? Can we make that assumption?
Yes,
Can we make a conclusion out of today's visit?
Let's do that.
Okay, all right.
Even though you know I hate conclusions.
Oh no, don't spoil it right at the end. So we have a total conclusion,
No, we don't.
underwritten, carved in stone, that it is Hercules carved on the hillside. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. I'll remember to subscribe, comment, etc. Ta-da for now.
Wow, get some footage of this. Us going down there. That's so beautiful. It's like the